Hola, my friends. How are you today? My name is Jordan with Yoni Swell. Thank you for being here. I'm so honored to share the space with you and talk about today's topic. And if you're new, welcome. I look forward to connecting with you. And as always, I appreciate everybody being here, and this really is a collective experience. So I hope this information is helpful for you. And without further ado, we will get started. So today I'm talking about the Venus star point in the sign of Capricorn and how it relates to our divine feminine energy. Now, this is literally happening right now at this moment. It is 8:27 on January 6th, 2026. And I am going to start by talking about the Venus star point. But really, what we're looking at is we're looking at Venus in Capricorn, exactly conjunct the sun, which is a Venus star point, and I will go into that. But the other really important information here is that Mars is right there. So the lineup, and we will look at the chart so that you can see what I'm talking about. The lineup is Mars, the Sun, and Venus, all conjunct together in the sign of Capricorn. Now, it's important to understand the archetypes around the divine feminine, Capricorn, and in this case, absolutely the divine masculine. Now, this has nothing to do with sex or gender. We all have feminine and masculine energy. And actually, we're always in this dance between accessing our feminine, accessing our masculine. And there are a lot of people who actually experience an imbalance because one is dominant over the other. There is nothing wrong with that. There is always divine work happening uh, because we are walking with purpose and intention. And that is just the reality that some of us have dominant masculine, some of us have dominant feminine. But the reason why I bring this in is because we are actually entering a new reality where being in alignment is the currency. And being in alignment means that we within ourselves are actually balanced within our masculine and our feminine. And I will go into what this looks like from a realistic or earthly perspective versus a spiritual perspective. Okay. And we're actually going to combine the two. So, as we are talking about this transit that's happening right now, that really is once in a lifetime because these planets, Venus, the Sun, and Mars, right now are in Capricorn. Therefore, they are ruled by Saturn. Saturn is the ruler of Capricorn, and Saturn currently is in the sign of Pisces. Well, Pisces is ruled by the planet Neptune, and Neptune is at the very end degrees, 29 degrees, almost about to go into Aries, which means Neptune is closing out a 165-year cycle. So Neptune will never ever be in Pisces ever again in this lifetime. 165 years ahead of time? Yes. Okay, so then as Saturn is right behind, from an evolutionary astrology perspective, it's called the balsamic phase, meaning that Saturn is closing out a 30-year cycle. And they're actually closing out a much bigger cycle when we're talking about the whole picture. And that I will save for another video. The point is, as we are experiencing this Venus star point with Mars there as well, we are actually stepping into the tangible new foundation of our inner reality that we have been working on and working towards for at least 4 years. And maybe this resonates for some of you as longer. The reason why it's 4 years is because this Venus was at this same degree conjunct the sun at her previous Venus star point 4 years ago. And so take a moment and reflect on 4 years ago, 2022, and what were you starting? What were you starting to commit to and integrate into your reality as something that you are working towards? And before I go into the archetypes, so that you can understand how to reflect on this energy and apply it to your own life, the Venus star point today on January 6th is a superior conjunction. So it's similar to a full moon. And the function of a full moon is the moon is opposite to the sun, and it creates this opposition. And whenever there's an opposition, it means something must be thrown off. Something must change. So whatever is in the way, whatever the obstacle is in the way, must be removed. It must be thrown off because change is required. So this Venus start point, think about it. The Venus start point 4 years ago in 2022 in the sign of Capricorn at this same degree point was creating a new intention because it's similar to a new moon. So now we're at the full moon phase, and she, our divine feminine energy, has been working towards something that is related to long commitment, hard work, and something that she's been creating to integrate into her tangible reality that is in alignment with who she naturally is. So let's now go through the archetypes so that we can understand what this energy looks like for you. Okay, so the sign of Capricorn, like I said, is ruled by Saturn, and it really has to do with your physical reality. It's the container of your life. So the best way to look at this, one of the best ways, in my opinion, from my perspective, is you take a glass of water, right? So we have a glass of water here. I have lemon. The glass of water, the actual glass container is Saturn. That's Capricorn. Okay. This is the structure of your life. Okay. It's the structure of your life, and it is the way in which you operate in the world, and it creates the boundaries that you have within your physical reality. Your body, your bones, that's Saturn. That is Capricorn. So we are closing out a previous reality of a former version of selves. For many of us, it was a false version of selves because Saturn and Capricorn correlate to conditioning. Conditioning is what you learn in your life. It comes from your upbringing, and it's not necessarily the essence of your truth. It's the conditioning that you are raised upon within. And oftentimes we grow and then we get to our Saturn return around age 28 to 32, and the conditioning starts to fall off of your consciousness. And then you may realize, wow, this is not actually how I see the world. And so then that next 30 years is all about creatively self-actualizing what actually is natural to you versus the conditioning that you were brought up in. So Capricorn and Saturn oftentimes has to do with authority, top-down structures. It has to do with integrity. It has to do with definitely long-term commitment. And it's also the sign of where we make things real. Okay. Now, when I'm talking about the Saturn return, that's also another video because it's not like that for everybody. Some people have a dominant Uranus in their chart, which is Aquarian energy, and that actually has to do with liberating from the known and not actually operating from the consensus because Saturn in Capricorn is the consensus, it's the majority. And when you start to individuate and become your own person, you are no longer operating from the old archetype of Saturn, Capricorn. Okay, so it's also important to say that Venus and Mars are actually closing out a 2 year cycle. So every 2 years, they actually meet up together and they close out a 2 year cycle of learning together being in partnership together. And again, this can relate to your inner alignment, or it actually can relate to a relationship that you are in romantically. Being that it's in Capricorn, oftentimes this has to do with, yes, the family system, one-on-one romantic relationships, but it also has to do with work relationships because Capricorn is so much about our professional presence and how we put our energy out there into the world. So it definitely relates to the family upbringing, the family system, the dysfunctional family, how we express ourselves emotionally, because opposite to Capricorn is Cancer, and that is our own inner emotional security. So, as we're moving through this energy, it's important to remember also 2 years ago when Venus and Mars were actually conjunct, meeting up with the sign of Pluto in the sign of Aquarius, and that was absolutely a definitive moment where the ways in which we do relationship with ourselves and with others are changing forever. Okay, so you can maybe take a moment and reflect on your experience 2 years ago when they met up in the sign of Aquarius, conjunct Pluto. Pluto is metamorphosis. Pluto is, anytime we are interacting with Pluto, anytime that your planets within your natal chart are interacting with Pluto, metamorphosis is inevitable. This also correlates to the death card in Tarot, and this is not a literal death. We're talking about metaphorical death and actually the death of the old self. So this is an opportunity, an invitation to actually reflect on the parts of you that have been decaying and that actually have been very poignantly been changing. When I say decay, that actually correlates more to Neptune and Pisces because it's a slow dissolving, right? Pluto is it's the excavator. It gets to the root very poignantly, very intensely, but Pluto wants the best for you. And Pluto within Pluto, the undercurrent is getting down to the root, getting down to the why, and asking, is this really true for you? Is this really in alignment with your nature? And that is the gift of Pluto. Pluto transits can last up to 2 years on average. It's a very intense experience, though it is an absolutely beautiful evolution of change and really getting down to the root of who you naturally are. I can speak for that. My whole life has felt like a Pluto transit. So I digress. We are coming back into the archetype of Capricorn. So Capricorn is all about your physical reality. So, because Mars is there with this Venus and Sun in this star point, they're going to be dancing together over the next few weeks and leading into the new moon in Capricorn. Because what's happening is they are recalibrating you and your divine feminine, your divine masculine energy, your inner alignment. Imagine an everyday life where you're feeling balanced and with ease and with confidence because you've done the work, you've done the inner work, and you've called in who you naturally are and what your heart wants, Venus, right? And that divine masculine energy is actually vulnerable. The strength comes with being vulnerable. And so, what are you ready to creatively self-actualize? And naturally, it's just going to come into physical form. So this is a beautiful time for manifesting. It's a beautiful time for really getting clear about the intentions you're setting forward, who you are becoming, and who you have grown into. The thing is, from my perspective, if you have been doing the inner work, the inner healing, the inner alignment, really confronting your limitations and creating increments of change over time, because that is Capricorn, applying the knowledge, applying the wisdom, right? Because Capricorn is a late bloomer. It's somebody who is wise because they have lived the experience, they have taken in the lessons, and they are now ready to integrate it, bring it into the reality, and be a natural leader for others. The natural expression of Capricorn is a natural leader with integrity, and they are their own authority, but they model what it means to be their own authority. They model what it means to be a natural leader. Okay, so many of us are actually stepping into this role so that we can be of service and help make the world a better place and return to balance and unity consciousness. Okay, so take that as it resonates. So moving forward, yeah, take a moment and ask yourself, like, what have you moved through over the last 4 years, even 2 years? And then what are you actually embodying now? What is the foundation that you can feel that is coming from within, where you are all of a sudden feeling confident, in alignment, and ready to be curious and to manifest and to plan and to really know and trust that you are worthy of the abundance, that you are worthy of the healthy relationships, that you are worthy of the new career or the new interest that you have. This could simply be for some, they have a new morning routine that really supports their day, that really supports them getting really healthy, good sleep at night. Like this can be something so simple. And also, it can be something very big that feels like a soul mission and purpose that you have been working for a long time. And the reason why these aspects are so important, being that this Venus, this Sun, and this Mars are ruled by the sign of Capricorn. Therefore, right, we always go to the ruler. So Saturn being in Pisces, as I remind you, I may sound like a broken record, that Saturn and that Neptune will never be in Pisces together again in this lifetime. And we are closing out a 30-year cycle. We are closing out actually a 36-year cycle, and we are closing out a 165-year cycle. So whatever is not in alignment, whatever is not meant to move forward with you is being removed on some level, internally, externally, and this Capricorn energy can also be very sobering, right? But it can be very empowering. So it really depends on what you've been investing, Venus, your energy into over these last few years. Okay? So as this is happening, there is a sacred partnership that is happening that is rooted in love because they're there together. The sun is our creative purpose. It's our present version of ourselves. So imagine this Venus going within and doing her own inner work, really connecting to her intuition, really embodying her divine feminine energy, which is the ability to listen to your inner voice and to discern, is this true for me? Is this safe for me? Is this the person I really want to be interacting with? Is this healthy for me? To discern what is best for you and then to honor that. And then from there, gestate, digest on what she wants to create. And as she's been doing that, she's been healing and she's been stepping into her own empowerment. And what Mars does in partnership here, this sacred partnership, the divine feminine needs the masculine. So Mars representing the divine masculine, which is the strength of our own vulnerability. It is somebody willing to process their emotions and not only operate from the logical mind. They are not only task oriented, they are actually willing to drop into their heart and know that that is their greatest strength. And as this is happening, Mars is uh, lighting the fire, the ignition, and saying, okay, we're going to go out there and create that together. So take a moment and process that. What is showing up in your life where you know deep down at the root level and within your heart what you are now ready to create from a place of being in alignment. And if you don't feel that way, well, this is showing you the next step of how you're going to get into alignment that resonates with you. And the first step to knowing what that is, wherever you are in the spectrum, is listening to your intuition, connecting to your intuition, that inner voice. The archetype of Venus being the divine feminine, there are many versions of the divine feminine. In another video, I will go into the divine feminine goddess energies, which are all parts of us and these different divine feminine goddesses that live in all of us. Okay. But Venus being the one that we relate to the most is all about our values. She is about our values. She is about our value structure. She is about how we interrelate to ourselves, how we feel about ourselves, how we talk to ourselves, right? So, what does your inner voice say? Are you able to actually tune in and listen to your inner voice? Is that your guiding force? Because that is directly connected to your intuition. Venus is the ruler of Taurus, which is my relationship with myself. What is my value? What are my natural resources that I have within me to provide for myself, to listen to my inner voice and be strong and go out there into the world and receive what I know is what I trust is best for me because I discern. I discern what is best for me. Venus, as the ruler of Libra, is about our one-on-one relationships and how we show up in relationship with the other. So the natural expression of Venus within these two signs is actually somebody who is in alignment with their own values and operates from their inner voice and trusts and knows that they have the natural resources they need in order to go out there in the world and to provide for themselves. It's a process of trusting, being the shaped, trusting yourself. So, what is your relationship with going within and listening to your intuition? Because that's the key step here for everybody. And to really embody this as your main navigation tool. Our intuition is our greatest guide. From my perspective, my lived experience and everything that I have taken in as information with my own experience, your intuition is your greatest guide. Your mind is a beautiful, brilliant tool that is a part of this beautiful system that we were given by the universe. But the mind has a narrative, and the mind comes from a place, the narrative comes from a place of survival, or can. So it's about building this mind-body connection in alignment relationship so that the intuition can always discern what's the narrative going on with my mind right now. And in another video, we will, a video series most likely, we are going to start exploring the nervous system and then how it relates to the chakra system and also our intuition. Because this body is our intuition. This body is our heart. This body is this whole system of our organs, and they're all sending messages to us and to our brain. And it's really important that we are actually very present with this because it can be one of our greatest support systems. And if you're already on this path and you already have these resources and just know this in your gut and in your root, yes, great. Like that is fabulous. We need more people that are getting on this arena, right? Because this is going to help everybody. It's going to help everybody heal. It's going to help everybody step into their natural selves and to be empowered and to go out there and be in alignment for themselves, to honor themselves, and then to be in community with others as we are moving into this very Aquarian energy that is going to be very dominated by AI. At the end of the day, are you able to connect to your heart, embody that, listen to your intuition, and be present, regardless of how much technology is becoming dominant? That is another topic, another video that we will go into. Okay. So we are moving through this topic and we are, getting to this opposition that will take place in a few days. And actually, I'm going to go ahead and share the chart. This is the chart exactly. Mars at 16, I'm sorry, Venus at 16 degrees of Capricorn, the sun at 16 degrees of Capricorn, Mars at 17. So this is the Venus star point right here. In this chart, it's in the 12th house. This is something that you would want to look at within your own chart. The Capricorn energy is very important to know about, but it really is the house. That's where the energy is going to light up and show up in your life. And so as you can see, I'm going to talk about this lunation here. So I'm sorry, not lunation, but the celestial movement. So this, they're going to keep moving and being this dance together, right? So that is like the foundation, like really pay attention to your body, to your energy, and to your heart, and then even to your thoughts, because you may notice this inner alignment that starts to synergize together. And all of a sudden, you just feel like a whole person. You feel whole. And it's like, wow, I'm ready to go out there and create truly, fully. I'm ready to be seen. I'm ready to do the thing that I've been working on, that I've been building courage towards for these years, right? So this, they will eventually oppose this Jupiter in Cancer, retrograde in the sign of Cancer, retrograde at 20 degrees. And this really is about confronting one's truth, confronting one's belief systems, confronting one's inner emotional security. Where do you find your safety? Who are the people that you feel safe with? Are you even present with what does feel safe? Because if you are living in a fluctuation of fight, flight, freeze, or fawn, being, in a trauma response, just a high level of stress, then you may not actually know what it's called the ventral vagal state, according to the polyvagal theory. You may not even know what that calm, that state of calm, ease, and curiosity, where you feel like you can go out there and learn and create and manifest. We aren't manifesting from those stressed states of fear. We are manifesting and creating from that calm, ease, place of trust, right? That place of curiosity. So it's really important to get in tune with what is showing up for you and what you are feeling, and really confronting, what are my values, Venus? What are my belief systems, Jupiter? What are my values? What are my beliefs? And what am I now ready to go out there and create, the Sun in Capricorn, for the long term, that I'm committed to, because I am committed to investing my energy into what is in alignment with my values, with my beliefs, and I'm ready to go make it my own. I'm ready to go Mars. I'm ready to go out there and make it real. Take action steps. What does that look like? What is the plan? What is the best way that I can step into this energy? Now, I'm going to leave that there in terms of the chart, because that energy, they're going to be dancing into that new moon in Capricorn that takes place on January 18th. And that's going to take place at 28 degrees of Capricorn. So we are moving through this Capricorn energy. And as our divine feminine, our divine masculine energy, our inner alignment, our whole selves are moving through this Capricorn energy, Saturn is saying, okay, through your inner voice, through your intuition, Pisces, Saturn in Pisces is saying, what is not in alignment? What is not supporting you? What is not a part of the new structure of consciousness, the new structure of your reality that no longer serves you in any kind of positive way? What are the lessons that you've learned? You've learned that lesson, you've gone through that, you've put in the time, you are the goat, the mountain goat, climbing that mountain, and you've gotten there. So whatever's not in resonance is going to be removed. And this can be energetically, this can be karmically, this can be people, this can be relationships, this can be work related, right? This can be whatever feels true for you. But it really comes down to dropping into your intuition, connecting to these archetypes, and asking yourself, what feels true for me? And then operating from there. And the essence of Saturn in Pisces is we for the last 3 years, we have been restructuring our consciousness and being called towards a routine that allows us to spiritualize, allows us to connect to spirit, to our heart, to our intuition on a deeper level, so that we can then create the new earth together as our own individuated selves, while being in community together as we move and build the new earth, which requires us to be our human selves, and also to integrate our spiritual selves. Now, that's not going to land for everybody, but I have a feeling if you're watching this channel, you are resonating with that and are maybe sitting with what that means for you, and maybe you are already there. So, this is all beautifully divine after the full moon in Cancer, which was really allowing us to go within and ask how we're interrelating with our emotional patterns and how we have shown up in the world from a place of maybe a false self or maybe a version of ourselves that was operating from emotions that were developed from wounds, from a place of trauma or from a place of um, an unconscious self that wasn't really modeled how to embrace their own, like the ability to nurture ourselves from within. And actually, I will link my full moon in Cancer video below so that you can catch up on that if you haven't. And I will also link my video about Jupiter entering Cancer and how it relates to the truth about the archetype of the dysfunctional family and how that may be presenting how that may be presenting it to you at this time while Jupiter is moving through Cancer. Now, it also might show you like how beautifully in alignment and whole and safe you feel within your own family. And that is beautiful as well. We live in a reality of polarity. Though I do want to share that, my work is from a very scorpionic point of view, which is about asking why, getting down to the bottom line of why, and then creating a space for healing and transformation and empowerment for the best, for the greatest good of all. So my work is looking at what feels uncomfortable and then embracing what is already whole, what is already beautiful there, and also looking at, well, what needs to change? So sometimes I will look at, you know, the scorpionic version of getting down to the root and the why and the undercurrent, whereas I am very present with what is already there that is winning, what is already there that is really supporting us. Cancer, that's Cancer energy, right? Okay, so I think that I'm going to wrap it up here. I am also going to include a link to my Lilith video. And that is when I go into the archetype of the original Lilith that can help begin or continue your education about the divine feminine essence. And closing this out, I want to say I'm so appreciative that you are here. And thank you for being here. I hope this information supports you. And if it resonates, I host a monthly live workshop. And it is all about connecting to your intuition and what that looks like, how to do that. It's called Embodying the Feminine Current. I think it's Embodying Your Feminine Current. I will circle back and take a look at that because I also have a podcast that is Your Feminine Current. So sometimes I get them mixed up, but it's all in the same realm. And connecting to your intuition, we walk through those steps and what that really looks like in a tangible way. And, why connect to our intuition? Well, because it cultivates self-trust and it cultivates your own inner confidence and it really creates a supportive space for connecting to your own values, listening to your inner voice, and then going out there and creating a life that is in alignment with your values, making choices that are value aligned, right? And always having that support system. And we do that with authenticity, we do that with confidence. And then what we're doing is we are embodying our divine feminine energy, which is actually attracting in what is best for us, attracting in those people that are at the same frequency as us, attracting in what feels safe, what feels whole, what feels nurturing. It really is up to you because we can also attract the other side of the spectrum. Though what I have seen and what I have experienced is that oftentimes when we are doing that, we are unconscious to what we are actually attracting in. And under that, within the undercurrent, are the lessons and actually the dynamics, the emotional dynamics, the value related dynamics, the belief system related dynamics that you are actually meant to confront as a way to liberate, to recover your freedom, to recover your nature, and to step in to who you naturally are. Please join me. Check out that workshop. The link is below. And I am sending you oceans of love. Remember that knowledge is power, and knowledge lives in our bodies, not just our mind, it lives in our bodies. And I am looking forward to connecting with you on the next one. So I celebrate this beautiful, cosmic, very real, tangible alignment that is happening with the Venus star point, the Sun, Mars together in Capricorn. So have a beautiful day, and I will connect with you next time.